G'day, how are you? Rob here again, SydneyEV, nice to see you. Same paddock, same sunset, more than one video at once because I'm quite a busy person unfortunately at the time, so hence videos come in short spasms, but what can you do? Anyway, this video is EV range anxiety, believe it or not. It's the fear that mostly non-EV owners have. So I'm thinking I run out of charge away from a charging point, but here's the twist. Most people don't drive far enough to actually need a big battery, which is kind of weird. So the last few cars I've been mentioning have got good, decent ranges, but you don't need them. Because basically, a recurrent study is continuing. They've studied 40,000 EV owners so far in their cars and found out the drivers use, on average, just 12.6% of their car's range every day, which tracks with the average distance of Australians driving around about 30 k's. I think in America it's around about 35 or 40 or something like that. In Europe it's actually more. I think Australians actually drive some of the least per day in the world, believe it or not. Even though we've got massive spaces that EVs would never work in, ain't the case. So yeah, 400-mile battery in your car, it's just basically there for emotional support, really. So let's crack on in the data, because that's, where it's all at. 75 to 100-mile range EVs, 22% of the people use that range daily. If you're going between 75 to 100 miles per day. Yeah. If you've got a car that does 300 to 325 miles, 12% of the people are using that much every day. If you've got a car that does 350 to 375 miles, I don't know why it's miles because that's where the data's from, assuming it's a research in a place where they do miles. Only 11.3% of people driving it. If you've got 375 to 400 mile range, less than 8% of people are actually using that range they've got. So average daily distance, according to the study, it costs us 40,000 cars, about 40 miles. So yeah, so unless you're commuting from Adelaide to Alice Springs every morning, uphill, both ways, in the snow, across the desert, in the middle of summer, like every ute driver who comments on all my videos, you're probably fine. So the myth. So why do people want 400-mile range? What if I take it on a road trip, they say? Well, what if I don't want to charge often? Valid. What if I live in a charging desert? Well, lucky those deserts are becoming greener because those chargers are getting right out all the time. And I did Sydney to Perth and back, 9,500k trip, where the car had a range of around about 300 k's. So it's doable. And that was before there was DC fast chargers along 2/3 of that journey. So anyway, so why are they building every EV like they're planning for the apocalypse? Well, who knows? Marketing, I suppose. You've got to get rid of that myth because, unfortunately, that range anxiety exists for non-EV buyers. So you've got to give those non-EV buyers a reason to not have the range anxiety. That's my thinking behind it anyway. All these extra batteries have cost, obviously. Big batteries, bigger costs, more weight, more mining, as every anti-EV commentator will highlight, and it obviously costs more money. And unfortunately, most of that goes unused, which is a bummer. So it's like paying for a litre of petrol and having 75% of that petrol you have just blown out the exhaust pipe and heating the engine block. It does nothing. So 200-mile range EV could easily handle 99.9% of all daily driving of people surveyed. So do you really need that big 400-mile range? Look at the numbers, obviously you don't. But manufacturers keep adding range to soothe the fears of EV buyers that vanish once they actually drive one, as all or most EV drivers already understand. Apparently there's a shift happening. Some brands are waking up, which is good. The Slate EV, the little pickup thing coming out from Amazon, 150-mile range, 25k, nice. 125-mile range, what's that, about 200 k's? That's usable. I probably wouldn't need it because I do about 350 k's on my commute, believe it or not, once a week. The Ford 51 kilowatt hour in the upcoming electric ute. Doesn't need the range because, believe it or not, most utes actually do live in the city and they're basically these tradies that move around urban areas. They don't go that far. Lucid's ex-CEO, 180-mile EVs are the future. And I tend to agree. As much chargers are everywhere, range anxiety just vanishes. If there's chargers everywhere, you don't need the big range, do you? No. So yeah, even though EV range anxiety is real in non-EV buyers until they actually drive one, that's hopefully soon to be remembering, just like petrol or fax machines. So if you're still waiting for that 500-mile EV, ask yourself, do you actually really need it? No, seriously. Keep track of just how far you actually drive for a week or two. You'll be quite surprised. That's the reason my father bought the Nissan Leaf, even though it's short range, about 200 k's, thereabouts. And I bought it off him because I told him to do what they call a time and distance study, essentially. You basically write in a logbook where you're going from every day. And his basically trips were from home, shopping, the pub, visit his mates and around a few suburbs, and that was it. That's all he ever did. And he found out on average his daily drive was around about 40 to 50 kilometres. Funny that, obviously he's retired. But yeah, so a 200-kilometre range Nissan Leaf, perfect. Obviously I've got the Model 3 Tesla up there, which gets me from here to the South Coast once a week. And up here too, I also have my Mitsubishi i-MiEV sitting up there, believe it or not. And it only has, what, 60, 70 k's of range out here on these open roads. And town's only 10 k's that way. And then IMEV does the town run every couple of days while we're up here, and the shopping and everything else. Great little farm vehicle. So no, you don't need the big ranges. And we charges everywhere. Again, like I said, do the study, have a think about where you actually drive, how far you will be driving, and base your choice on that. So, I hope this video helps a lot when it comes to EV range. And thank you again for watching. Take care of yourselves, really much appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, bye.